There is actually a question that I've been asking CEOs for the last few months, and almost every single one of them has basically hesitated before they answered. So the question is this: if you stepped away from your particular business for 4 weeks, genuinely stepped away, would it grow, would it hold, or would it quietly come apart? Now, this is not a trick question, but the hesitation is the diagnosis itself. Because what most CEOs are realizing right now, and often privately, is that something is shifting underneath the conversation about AI, artificial intelligence, that nobody has quite named yet. And by the time it gets named, the gap between the business that pulled ahead and the ones that quietly stalled will already be enormous. So what I want to do is, in the next 10 or 12 minutes, I want to take you through what is actually happening, why it matters now more than at any point I can remember in 25 years of doing this work, and the 5 things every CEO needs to do before AI becomes a real advantage rather than an expensive distraction. So let me say this clearly. Most CEOs are still treating AI as a technology discussion. That actually is a mistake, because this is now a leadership, operating model, and survival discussion. And the companies that will pull ahead in the next 24 months are not the ones with the most AI tools. They will be the ones with the strongest leadership operating systems running underneath those tools. Because here's the thing, almost nobody is saying it loud. AI does not remove dysfunction. It actually exposes it faster. So if decision making in your particular business is fragmented, AI will accelerate the fragmentation. If accountability is unclear, AI will accelerate the unclarity. If you see where I'm coming from. If your leadership team is working from inconsistent data, AI will accelerate the inconsistency at a speed your governance was never designed to handle. So in every business I've entered over the last 2.5 decades, the same pattern shows up. There's an invisible operating system running underneath the strategy, underneath the organization chart, underneath the technology, and it governs how decisions actually get made, how information actually moves, and what the team actually does when nobody is watching. So, in almost every case, nobody designed it on purpose. It accumulated. And in the average business turning over, say, between 5 million and 150 million pounds or dollars, that accidental operating system is quietly costing somewhere between 300 to 500,000 pounds or dollars a year in trapped value. This is not any line item in the seams between line items, which is why finance never finds it and the board never even names it. So let me give you an example that makes this really concrete. Now consider when Satya Nadella took over Microsoft in February 2014, the company was worth around $300 billion. Today, it is worth more than 3 trillion. Now, that is not a typo. The market value multiplied by roughly 10 times in a decade. But here's the part most people miss when they tell that particular story. For the first 4 years of his tenure, Satya Nadella did not lead with technology. He led with a deliberate, sustained rebuild of the leadership operating system inside Microsoft. What he did is he removed stack ranking. He shifted a culture from what he himself called know-it-all to learn it all. He rewired the way leadership teams talk to each other. And what he did is he installed a growth mindset across 40 business units. And he insisted that empathy and the customer obsession were operating principles, and these are not posters on a wall. Only after that work had taken root did the technology bets start to compound. And the open AI partnership, the Azure dominance, the integration of AI into every product Microsoft sells. So, Microsoft did not win on AI because they had better engineers than everyone else. They actually won because the operating system underneath the engineers was finally ready to absorb what AI could do. Now that in itself is the lesson. The technology is actually the amplifier. The operating system is actually the multiplier. And almost every CEO that I have met has it the wrong way round. Now let me give you a second example, and this may be closer to home for many of you. Consider DBS Bank in Singapore. So in 2014, the same year we were talking about Nadella started at Microsoft, the CEO Piyush Gupta launched a strategy he called Making Banking Joyful. Just 3 principles: become digital to the core, make banking invisible, run as a startup of 27,000 people. Now notice what is not in that particular list. AI was not on that particular list. Tooling was not on that list. The first move was the operating system itself. Customer journey mapping, new decision rights, new cadence, new definition of what done meant inside the bank. And so what ultimately happened is DBS has now been named the world's best bank by Euromoney multiple years running. And Harvard Business Review placed them in their top 10 business transformations of the decade alongside Netflix and Amazon. Now, they did not get there by buying technology faster than other banks. They got there by redesigning the leadership operating system first, and then letting digital and AI amplify what was already working. So 2 completely different industries, 2 completely different geographies, the same exact sequence. Now fix the operating system, then let the technology compound it. So now I personally have spent the better part of 25 years inside this particular question. Years as group finance and commercial director, thousands of leaders trained across different continents, boardroom work spanning in the UK, Europe, Africa and Asia. And some of the participants in my training have been from Ernst & Young, Ipsos, YPO, Coca-Cola and Renault, just to name a few. Now, I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm saying it because the pattern I'm about to describe is actually not theory. It is the same pattern that I've watched play out in different industries, in different geographies, at different stages of growth, over and over again. So when CEOs get this particular sequence right, they manage to pull ahead. But when they get it wrong, no amount of AI investment closes the gap. So what I want to do now is I want to give you 5 things every CEO needs to do in the exact order before AI becomes a real advantage in your business. So, step 1, map your actual decision right. I'm not talking about the organization chart, the real ones. Who decides what, in what time frame, with what input. Most leadership teams have never written this down. The moment you do, you will see exactly where the bottlenecks are, almost always at the CEO's desk. The second step, identify your 3 loudest gaps. Out of the 15 patterns that I see repeatedly, 3 usually account for 60 to 70% of the trap value in any particular business. decision paralysis, founder bottleneck, and financial blindness. Find which three are most active for you, and you have to be honest. The third step, redesign the structure and the behavior together, not in sequence, not in series, together. This is the single most important point in this particular video. The structural fix without the behavioral shift is going to revert within 90 days, every time, without exception. And step 4, install the operating cadence before you install the technology. Weekly rhythm, monthly rhythm, quarterly rhythm, board rhythm. What gets decided where, by whom, with what data, in what window. Without that cadence, AI tools are just going to become noise. With it, they become leverage. And the final step, only then layer in AI, specifically against the bottlenecks you have just exposed. Not as pilots, not as experiments, but as the amplifier on top of an operating system that is now ready to receive it. The sequence is what separates the business that scale in the next 24 months from the ones that quietly stall. So you might be asking, why now? Because the gap is compounding. Every quarter that goes by, the businesses that have started this work pull further ahead, and the compounding is not linear. By 2027, the difference between a company with a clean leadership operating system and a company without one will not be a quarter or two of revenue. It will be entire market positions. So I do not want any CEO watching this to find themselves on the wrong side of that particular gap. Now, if anything in this particular video has landed close to home, the place to begin is the CEO Growth Audit, which is on my website. It's only 12 questions, 3 minutes. And what I do is I revert personally within 3 business days, followed by a focused 30-minute call to walk you through what the audit has surfaced. There's no funnel on the other end, there's no pitch, just clear, structured read on which of the 15 gaps are most active in your business and what closing them is genuinely worth. The link is in the description below. So the next 24 months will separate the leadership teams that took this seriously from the ones that treated it as a tooling exercise. The technology is not the question. The system underneath the technology is. Clarity first, impact fast. I'll see you in the next one.